Welcome to our open house. My name is Dr. Natalia Barber, and I'm here with my colleagues, Dr. Luis Arboleda and Dr. Anwar Sadmani, and we'll tell you a little bit about our department. But first, I wanted to ask you about how you traveled in the last couple of days or a couple of weeks, and probably most of you will say that you traveled by a regular car or sometimes walked. But nowadays, there is a strong possibility that soon there'll be an autonomous vehicle picking you up from your door and then dropping you off at your destination, and then it will go and pick up someone else. And if there is an issue with that autonomous vehicle, perhaps gets in a crash or something goes wrong, who takes the responsibility? So those are some of the questions from the ethical perspective, the environmental perspective, the operational perspective that you'll be able to learn about when you study at UCF. So our department is divided into three main areas: civil, environmental, and construction engineering. Civil engineering is further categorized as structural, geotechnical, water resources, and transportation. And also, there is the other side of engineering that looks at environment. And if you decide to pursue environmental engineering, you'll learn about air pollution, solid and hazardous waste, water treatment, and wastewater treatment. So a lot of options. And if you think about it, engineering is becoming more and more multidisciplinary. So even if you study transportation or the case of autonomous vehicles, there is a very strong relationship between environment and operations. With engineering being so multidisciplinary, it is continuously becoming the case that the work that we do in our labs and in front of our computer is later translated into real life. So in the end, the mistakes that we make and the value that we bring impact the society. So in a way, it's this life or death situation. To give you a very broad portfolio of courses, we offer undergraduate degrees in civil, environmental, and construction engineering, and they're all ABET accredited, which is then important for your professional license. And if you cannot make up your mind, we also offer dual degree options, so you can simultaneously learn about different domains. If you want to pursue graduate degree after graduating with your undergrad, you have option to become a master's or a PhD in civil or environmental engineering. And as I mentioned, there are three different disciplines under civil engineering in our departments, such as civil, environmental, and construction. And here there's a brief overview of courses that we offer, and they have a very broad focus. So they go from structural engineering to chemical processes, and then you can also learn about the construction engineering related topics. At the end of your journey, you'll get to experience real life problems and see whether you can solve them and what tools you're gonna use to solve them. And that will happen in your discipline-specific designs and capstone designs. And now I'll give it to my colleague, Dr. Anwar Sadmani.
Thank you, Natalia. Now let's check out some of the cool stuff that we do in our department that you can be also part of when you join our programs. So here I show you some examples of smart cities, and intelligent transportation systems, autonomous vehicles, and augmented reality. Our transportation faculty work in collaboration with multiple disciplines across the university and around the nation and internationally to investigate smart city applications. In a smart city, we'd have various devices and sensors to enable us to collect real-time data that is used to manage services and resources efficiently and improve our operations effectively, improve our operations across the city. So this campus is a test bed for many technologies like this autonomous vehicle that you might see roaming around. There are many other smart devices and sensors that we have around the campus, to enhance our connectivity and transit efficiency. Next. The Future City is an internationally recognized initiative from our department that draws on expertise from various fields, including advanced computation and technologies in infrastructures, environment, transportation, water resources. The three main components of the Future City are smart infrastructure, urban operations, and people, public policy, and financing to ensure that the implementations of the smart applications are equitable. So in our built environment, it's already embedded with a variety of sensors in our buildings, in our vehicles and transportation systems to enable us collecting a lot of real-time data and help us understand the city dynamics. We can process this data to, develop, for example, data-driven methods for urban mobility and congestion, real-time emergency response, infrastructure resilience in delivering critical urban services. Next. Then in environmental engineering and water resources engineering, we work on developing tools and technologies to tackle the impacts of climate change and depleting natural resources, the extreme weather events and natural hazards, and so on. For instance, the wastes that have been traditionally disposed in landfills, we can reuse them, recycle them to derive very valuable resources and energy, for example, biofuel from those wastes. And hence, this is a picture of waste to energy cogeneration plant, the bottom right corner of the slide. Next. So these are some applications of remote sensing, computer vision, laser, solar and wireless technologies. So, these are integral part of smart and future cities. We use, for instance, computer vision and, communication technologies for adaptive traffic signal control, signal performance metrics, connected vehicles, and smart parking, as well as we use the remote sensing technologies using various tools, for example, unmanned aerial vehicles, UAV, or LiDAR, light detection and ranging. And in addition to the satellite data, we fuse all this data that are obtained from various sources to be able to use in all these applications. So for remote sensing, we can apply in mapping watershed and landfill, for example. So now I will request my colleague, Dr. Arboleda, to share with you some facts and stats of our department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sadmani. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of an overview of our department in terms of some statistics, as you can see in the slide. So we're approximately 1,000. We have approximately 1,000 undergraduate students and 200 active graduate students, and we're composed of about 30 professors, including assistant professors, associate professors, lecturers, research faculty, and so on. And we have a total of 16 graduate teaching assistants that help the professors to build the classes and provide office hours to the students as well to be able to orient in their learning or help in their learning experience. So we have a total of approximately $150 million in proposed research over the last 5 years. And the recent awards materialize in approximately $30 million, $28 million, and expenditures of $24 million. Next. So in terms of innovation and education, the department and the program basically starts, as you can see on the left-hand side, with the very introductory classes, including Introduction to Engineering and, for example, Statics. Statics is one of those classes that provide the fundamental blocks and the building blocks of what we're going to be doing in our civil, environmental, and construction programs. And on the left-hand side, we have one of the most successful ideas. Literally, that's the name of the program that we have in our department, where students display and showcase their ideas in terms of different prototypes on different mechanisms that they create during this class to put in a hands-on experience everything that they learn in the classroom. On the right-hand side, what we had there was a capstone design. The capstone design is oriented to give experiences, real-world experiences into what is the practical applications of everything that we learned in the classroom. So that is what we have in the capstone design. Next. So in terms of student organizations and internships, we have quite a bit of student organizations. For example, the American Society of Civil Engineers have a student organization chapters. And we have also honor societies in our department that at the very end, the goal of this is for students to get exposed to all kinds of different problems and to put into practice what they learned in the classroom. There is some meetings that the students have all together. They share their experiences in the coursework. They get, by the way, free pizza, which is super exciting too. And they also, of course, share all the plans that they have for the different competitions in regional and national at the regional and national levels. As you see on the top left-hand side of the screen there is a couple of examples there. For example, the concrete canoe is one of the competitions that the American Society of Civil Engineering has. You see on the right-hand side a picture of how difficult and challenging is building a canoe made of concrete. We have been very successful in the past in all these competitions at UCF. So we also have undergraduate research programs. We highlight these from the standpoint of research. We love to have research in our undergraduate researchers in our laboratories. Undergraduate researchers are extremely resourceful. They're very active. They come up with very innovative ideas that enrich our research in the department. Next. Let's talk a little bit about money. In terms of money, if you enroll into our program, I guarantee you're gonna have a pretty decent living. It's gonna be really, really competitive in relation to any other professions. Typical entry-level salaries for civil, environmental, and construction could be ranging somewhat in the order like $60,000 to $80,000 with a relatively spread standard deviation. As you, of course, advance in your career, as you become more senior in the companies or in the jobs that you're going to be completing after you graduate from UCF, you might be able to earn $80,000 to $120,000, $150,000 even, depending on how much your qualifications are. If you pursue a master's or a PhD, also, of course, helps in terms of these very competitive labor market. The stability. Job satisfaction and security is something that guarantees your path to the civil, environmental, and construction engineering programs by UCF. Central Florida has a large number of firms, and students find very easy employment after finishing in our programs. A couple of testimonies in this slide. For example, the student on the top left-hand side, she met representatives from Toho Water Authority at the fall 2021 CECE Career Mixer, an intern with them for the final 2 semesters at UCF. After she graduated, she transitioned to a full-time engineer position with Toho. Toho is, by the way, the largest provider of water, wastewater, and reclaimed water services in Osceola County. Toho is currently operating 17 water treatment facilities and 9 wastewater treatment facilities to provide efficient and reliable water services. Another example on the left-hand side, bottom of the screen, the student graduating in the structural engineering department. He works for a company called Structural. That is a nationwide specialty contractor that focuses on structural and concrete repairs. The student is doing a lot of the preparation of the budgets and schedules, production rate tracking, client relations, quality control, and quantity tracking, etc. Next. This slide shows on the left-hand side a list of different occupations after graduating from the civil engineering, environmental, construction engineering programs. So there are some examples like you can become a geotechnical engineer, a structural engineer, a highway engineer, a dam engineer, environmental engineer, designer, project designer. There is a lot of different opportunities as you can see on the left-hand side, and those on the right correspond to the employers that after graduation provide jobs to our students. For example, design firms, construction firms, consulting firms, graduate schools, transportation agencies, municipal government and utilities, general contractor. So we are a career basically of a lot of innovation, as you saw in the previous slides, as Dr. Sadmani and Dr. Barbour were talking about, but we also are the traditional civil engineering profession of hard hats that we get our hands dirty to build the infrastructure of the future in the US and in the world. Next. We want to thank you for your patience to listen all this information about our department. So this is a list of emails that you might be interested in contacting if civil, environmental, and construction engineering is your future. So we invite you to contact us and share any type of question that you might potentially have. Next.